you saw my last vlog, then you will know that I literally just finished The Wall of Storms by Ken Liu, which was my series challenge for winter, and it was amazing. I'm so glad that I ended up picking this, which when I did pick it, I was not happy about it. So I'm so glad that I did end up picking this series because I did end up loving this so much. But also, because of this book, I'm starting to feel a bit of a reading slump coming on. If you want more of my thoughts on this, I'll link that vlog in the cards so you can go and check that one out. And I just know that at times when I have a book that I end up really loving, there can be times when after that, nothing really feels good. Like, none of the books that I read keep my attention, and I go into a reading slump, and then I just like don't read for like 3 months or whatever it is. And I don't want that to happen because spring is usually a good time for me, so I want to be reading during that time period. So I'm going to try and nip this reading slump in the bud by doing a 5-star predictions video where I'm basically going to pause all of the books that I'm currently reading, and I have a list of books that I think could potentially be 5 stars, and instead I'm going to read those potential 5-star book. And I have a few that are on my winter TBR that I've kind of been putting off for a while and I think are just like perfect for this particular vlog. Now, they're not part of any of like my challenges or anything, so that's why I kind of been putting them off a little bit. And I don't want to put down the books that I'm currently putting down. Like, I'm enjoying them. There's nothing wrong with those books, but with the reading slump coming on, I feel like I'm gonna end up not liking those as much as I would have in the past anyway. So I've had 3 books in particular that's on my winter TBR that are 5-star predictions for me that I haven't gotten to because I've been focusing on these challenges, whereas these books are like not part of the challenges at all. So those are the 3 books that are going to be like my mini TBR for this week because I think they could absolutely be 5-star books for me. And this week I feel like I need something that is just going to be really good to keep me interested. So the first of those books, which is the one that I'm going to plan to pick up today, is Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang. Everything that I've seen people talking about this book, every single person has absolutely loved it. The previous book that I've read by this author, The Sword of Kaigen, was a 5-star book for me and one of the best like indie published books I have ever read. So I've kind of been saving this one for a rainy day, but I have the library book, so I have the physical book. I did buy the ebook because it was on sale for only $2.99, and I did just get access to the audiobook from my library. So I think it is time to start Blood Over Brighthaven, and I'm super excited for this. I will start with the physical book because that is my preferred method, but I might switch to the other 2 in between as we go along. We'll see how it goes. The second one, which I'm planning to start tonight before I go to bed, because that's just like how I like reading my ebooks, and this is going to be my ebook for the week, which is The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. This is an e-arc that I got, so this book doesn't actually come out till May, but it's Joe Abercrombie. He's one of my favorite authors of all time. I think I've read nearly all of his books. I think there are just like 2 that I haven't read yet, and the majority of the ones that I've read are 5-star books for me. So I feel like Joe Abercrombie is just one of those authors that I trust, that I feel like this could probably be a 5-star book. So I'm really excited for this. I'm really excited to see where he goes with this because I've heard like just like snippets from people who have gotten the early arcs as well. Like, from what I hear, it's things that I would love. So I'm excited to see where this goes. But like, this is the one that like scares me the most because it's such a beloved author for me that if I don't end up liking it, I'm going to be so bummed about it. But hopefully I'll end up loving it. And then the last one that is a 5-star prediction that was on my winter TBR. This one is honestly a bit more of a stretch than the other 2 because the other 2 are authors that I've read before, and this one is an author that I actually haven't read before. Like, I have read a little bit. Like, I've read the first chapter of one book, which I like, but I decided to switch to another series by him, and I haven't read anything else by him, and that is The Shadows of God by Gwynne. This is the series that I decided to start with this author because everything I've heard about this author points me in the directions that I should absolutely love his work, and this series in particular, but I haven't gotten around to picking it up yet. So I feel like this is just like the perfect excuse to pick this one up. I don't think I'm gonna pick it up today. I think I'm going to wait till later in the week, but this is the 3rd book that hopefully I can get to this week, and hopefully I'll end up loving. So it's Sunday now, and naturally, as soon as I say that Blood Over Brighthaven is my primary goal for the day, I immediately get distracted by other things. In this case, the newest season of Love is Blind, which I don't care for that much. Honestly, I don't care for the show that much, but for some reason, it's easier to put off doing something that I want to do, which again is reading Blood Over Brighthaven, Brighthaven into something that I know will probably disappoint me anyway. So I didn't end up getting to this yesterday, but I do plan hopefully get to this at some point today. I did, however, last night start The Devils by Joe Abercrombie before I went to bed. I only read for about half an hour or so, but I'm so glad that I decided to start this one because just the writing alone has got me super drawn into the story. I love like the descriptions of just like the different like ways that like the characterization comes out, because the characters, like, you feel like you really get to know them because in their head they have such vulnerabilities, and even though they're like not good people, like the main character seems kind of like blustering and kind of like above it all, if that makes sense, but at the same time I'm just like, you're full of it. Like, I can tell what you're thinking right now and you're completely full of it. So I kind of love that about like Abercrombie's writing style, and I'm really excited to see where this goes. I will say it does use like not modern, like just like real world like countries and places. Like at one point it said Europe and I was just like, that kind of threw me for a loop. The rest of the world does not feel like it's set in the real world. Like there is like this church, it's like the center of like the story, but it's not the Vatican. Like it's not called the Vatican. So it felt weird that it was set in Europe. So I don't know. I'm not sure on how I feel about the world building, but on the writing style and like the characterization and everything has me really drawn into the story. So I'm really excited for this. I'm only about 6% into the ebook. I don't know how many chapters that is. It's been quite a few chapters because there are two different point of view characters. There's Brother Diaz, who is like part of the church, and then there's Alex, who is a thief, but she is found out to be like a long lost princess, like really early on. Like it's like her second chapter or something like that. And her first chapter was only like a page and a half. So like it's like less than 5% of the book has gone through so far that has already happened. So I don't know. Like, this is interesting. I like the tropes that it's using, and just knowing Joe Abercrombie's past with like the blade itself, that series, I feel like we're gonna get some interesting twists on those, and I'm excited for it. So the mists are back, but I kind of like them. It's now Wednesday, February 26th, and I have made progress on The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. I'm enjoying it so much. I don't want to say too much about it because obviously spoilers, and this book doesn't come out till May. Definitely kind of like what I was expecting from Joe Abercrombie, so I'm definitely enjoying this. That being said, I have not actually started Blood Over Brighthaven yet, which I do plan to start today, which I know I say every day. I just keep getting distracted by other things, and I just got the audiobook for Small Gods by Terry Pratchett, which is my 5-star prediction for the Discworld books. I definitely think Small Gods is going to be a 5-star book for me, so I've decided to try and get through Pyramids, which is kind of like in the same like arc of Small Gods, even though they're not like a prequel and sequel or anything like that. All of the books in the Discworld do appear to be standalones for the most part, so I could just start Small Gods, but I do want to start Pyramids first. So I've been listening to Pyramids by Terry Pratchett as well. This one's not a 5-star prediction. Small Gods is a 5-star prediction. I want to get to that one this week as well, so I'm excited for that. We'll see how it goes, but so far I'm enjoying Pyramids quite a bit. I do like the ancient civilization part of it because it feels like ancient Egypt a little bit, and I'm enjoying it a lot. It also plays with death in an interesting way, so I feel like I'm getting what I wanted from like the death arc in this book. I think like if I went back and listened to the audiobook for Mort, I'd probably end up liking Mort a lot more than I did end up liking it, but I'm not gonna do that. I did enjoy it for what it was, but I am excited to listen to the audiobooks for the death arc soon too. But so far I really am enjoying Pyramids. So it is Friday, February 28th, and last night I finally picked up Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wang. I knew it was going to be a problem when I picked up The Devils first because I knew I was just going to get into that and not want to read anything else, but I kind of had to lock my iPad in my office and only take this book with me, but I finally picked it up and I'm so glad that I did. I've only read the first 3 chapters so far, and so far I'm definitely enjoying this. I don't know if this is what I was expected going into it. I feel like there's going to be more later on that I'm going to end up loving. We will see though. I think her previous book, I felt drawn into it like immediately, whereas this book, I'm kind of keeping my distance a little bit. I think part of it is just I don't want it to break my heart, but I feel like it will. So we will see. So far, we've followed 2 characters. There's Tomo, who like the first chapter starts off like really full of action, which is not my favorite way of starting a book. Personally, like it didn't start in the middle of the action. Like there was a little bit of preamble into it. Like there was a little bit of anticipation for it. But then it was a little more than I personally wanted. That's part of the reason why I did not start with audiobook, because I had picked up the audiobook to start listening to this like in between other audiobooks, and it was just way too much like at me in the very first chapter that I had to put it down. I was like, nope, this is not gonna work. I need to start with the physical book. So I'm glad I did come back and started with the physical book. I don't love the first chapter though. I can see why a lot of people would love the first chapter, but I feel like the first chapter almost feels like a climactic scene, but it's more of like a preamble in this book. And I personally don't love those situations because I like to get to know characters really well before we put them into situations like that. So it started off a little rough for me, let's be honest. But the second character that was introduced is trying to become the first female high mage, and her point of view I'm finding incredibly interesting. I really love the way she thinks. It's very different than how I think, but I know people who think just like she does, and I just love comparing them in my head. Like, I feel like it's so interesting. So I'm really enjoying this so far. I'm excited to see how those two characters end up interacting, and I'm really excited for this. I only have like a few days left in this vlog. I don't know if I'm gonna finish it in that time because this is a pretty big book, but I could. Like, there is a possibility I could binge read this. More of a possibility if I decide to switch to the audiobook at all, but at the moment I'm not really interested in the audiobook. I'm still listening to the Discworld audiobooks, so I think this is gonna be my physical book for right now. But of course we also still have The Devils as my ebook, and I don't know if I can finish both of them because I need to give both of them the appropriate amount of time and like attention, but I'm still want to read both of them at the same time. Like, I'm a little overwhelmed with the 5-star predictions. But on a side note, the reading slump that I was getting towards the beginning of the week, yeah, completely gone. Nowhere in sight. So I'm really glad that I decided to do this video and super excited to continue on with both of these books. So it's still Friday, but I have made a lot of progress on Blood Over Brighthaven by Emma Wang. I am almost done with it. There's really not that much left, and I have all night. So I do think I am going to finish this today. I did switch to the audiobook for a little while just so that I can continue reading it, even though like I had other things to do, and I am loving this so much. This is definitely a new favorite already, which it definitely didn't start out that way, but this is reminding me a lot of Babel by R.F. Kuang, because I think I have that book somewhere, because in Babel it has similar themes and ideas that Blood Over Brighthaven explores. And mind you, I really loved Babel. It was one of my favorite books of last year, but I did have some issues with it, particularly in the way the characters were portrayed. Not necessarily because they weren't well developed. I think they were well developed. I think they were just portrayed in an idealistic kind of way where they didn't really have like the flaws that you would expect. Whereas Blood Over Brighthaven, I feel like fixes those issues that I had with Babel, and I just absolutely love Blood Over Brighthaven so much. I love the way the characters are written. I love the magic is incredibly interesting, and the themes that it explores I feel are so important and so interesting and just so well developed. We've gotten to a point in this book where our main character is gonna do something, and I don't know what she's going to do, but I'm just super excited to see what it is because I feel like it has very explosive potential. Let's just put it that way, and I'm just there for it. It is Saturday, March 1st, and as far as I'm concerned, we are in the spring season now, which I'm super excited to get to my spring TBR. But before we get that, I did get a package, which I think I know what this is, so I wanted to do a little unboxing, or I guess package opening. Oh gosh, it's thicker than I expected. It's so cute. It is also both thicker than I expected and smaller than where are my other Discworld? The Color of Magic. So I expected it to be kind of the same size as The Color of Magic, but it is smaller. But that's okay. It's gorgeous. Look how cute it is. I've been having a hard time finding these covers of the books, but I knew for Small Gods, this was one of the books that I wanted to have a physical copy of so that I could switch between the two, partially because this is the 5-star prediction for the series for me, or one of them at least, but also partially because I am really loving Pyramids right now, and I kind of wish that I had a physical copy of Pyramids to read because it is probably my favorite Discworld book so far. And knowing that most people like Small Gods more than Pyramids, I knew I had to get a physical copy. I am not going to be able to get to Small Gods during this vlog. Like, it's not going to happen, unfortunately. I will be getting to it soon though, which I'm really excited about, but I'm loving Pyramids so much that I don't want to rush it. And I kind of felt a little bit rushed this week with some of my other books, so I'm just gonna let myself read these slowly slower because I really don't want to rush Pyramids because I'm really enjoying it so far. So I will be getting Law Gods sometime in the month of March, but it's not going to be today. But I am just so happy to have this book. It's so cute, and I'm so excited to finally get to this one. And specifically, when I said I feel a little rushed this week, it's regarding Blood Over Brighthaven by M.L. Wang, because I have to return the library book tomorrow, and I'm really sad about it, but I did end up finishing it last night, and I really enjoyed this. I will say it is very reminiscent of Babel by R.F. Kuang, especially in the way the themes are explored, and even the exact themes that both of these books have in them are very similar. I do think some of the things I did not like about Babel, Blood Over Brighthaven does a lot better, but I wouldn't say they're interchangeable. Like, I would recommend you read both of them, but out of the two, I probably like Blood Over Brighthaven more, which I gave Babel 5 stars. So obviously, I'm giving Blood Over Brighthaven 5 stars as well. I can't say too much about it without giving too much away, but I love pretty much every aspect of this novel. I will say it didn't hit me emotionally quite in the same way her previous book did. Like, The Sword of Kaigen, I think, is still my favorite book by M.L. Wang, but this one is a very close second. Well, obviously, I've only read 2 books by the author. Not saying much, obviously. Still ended up really loving this, and yeah, I'm so happy that I finally got to this one. Like I said, I did feel a little rushed with this one, so I do think I'm gonna reread it again in the future, and there are a lot of like quotes in particular that, because I was reading the library book, I couldn't like underline or highlight or tab or anything like that, but I do have the ebook, so I will probably go through the ebook and get some of those quotes later on in the year. I do need to move on to other things first, but I'm so glad that I have read this, and it was fantastic. Like, definitely the type of book like that I wish I could have read like growing up. It's not a children's book, but I feel like if I was a teenager when I read this book, I would have loved just having the type of representation that you get in this book. I would have loved feeling that. So I'm so happy that this book exists, and I'm so happy that I got the chance to read it too. And even though I haven't finished The Devils by Joe Abercrombie, I'm pretty sure this is a new favorite of mine, and I'm pretty sure it's gonna end up being a 5-star book anyway. Just like Blood Over Brighthaven, I knew like about 25% into this book that it was already a 5-star book. That's how I kind of feel about The Devils also. So even though I haven't finished it, I will have like a full review, and I'm gonna do a full read along for The Devils, so you'll get all of that when the book actually comes out, like in May. But I am really enjoying it so far, and I probably can't talk any more about it anyway in this vlog because it's spoiler free, so just know I am really enjoying The Devils as well. But I'm gonna go ahead and end this vlog because I'm just super excited to get to my spring TBR. So for now, that is all I have for you guys. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. If you've read any of these books, let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear from you. I post at least 1 video per week, so please consider subscribing. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.